Sherry Regiani. Sherry has been in dentistry since 1970, first as an assistant and then as a hygienist. 30 years ago, she transitioned into practice management, focusing on HR for dental offices, OSHA compliance, and HIPAA omnibus. She holds national certifications in all of these fields. Sherry and her husband David, a founding member, built their practice from scratch in the tiny town of Ortonville, Michigan in 1979. Most of their 19-member team have been with them now for decades, and their patients are now third generation. In 2014, they built a new 7-operatory office in a small town between Flint and Pontiac, Michigan. Sherry fully understands the changing rules and regulations that have affected the private practitioner and continually adds to her knowledge base. She is a much sought-after speaker and coach and is a frequent speaker at the IAOMT meetings. Please join me in welcoming Sherry Regiani.
I believe in protecting your assets, literally. There are too many times where a good person in a good office gets the short end of the stick because of a technicality. This is one, cybersecurity. And you may think, why would a dental office be concerned? Because of the Internet of Things. So 30 years ago, this is what we thought of security. You worked, you earned enough money, you got the cute little car, and maybe you had a summer home. That was considered security. 10 to 20 years ago, all that changed when we realized computers need passwords and the file cabinets had to be locked every night. And that worked for a while too. The times are changing. So we have technology, and we have an accelerated growth in technology. You think of it this way. In the 1400s, we had the printing press. Gutenberg changed the world. 200 years later, we had a telescope. 200 years later, we had the light bulb. And then less than 200 years later, we put a man in the moon. This is the 50th anniversary of the lunar landing on the moon. And look where we've come. DVDs came around in 1995. If you mentioned an 8-track tape to people of a certain age, they'd have no idea what you're talking about. iPads are only 8 years old, and from there it goes on. So, oh, by the way, that was the first mobile phone. Everybody's going to have one. That was just 1983. It's not that long ago. So cyber risk. Now that we have all these devices, cyber risk is the risk of financial loss, disruption, or damage to a reputation, which is what you have built your livelihood upon, from some sort of failure of an information technology system. Information technology is the fancy way of saying any device. You have a mobile phone, you have an information technology system. You have a smartwatch, you have an information technology system. You fax something, you have an information technology system. But cybersecurity is the protection of that information from threats, theft, or damage. And that's what we're going to talk about. And it's not just the damage, it's the disruption that it causes. So the Internet of Things is a way that physical devices are all connected. If you're in this room, you probably have lousy Wi-Fi. If you're in any other room here, I found Wi-Fi is pretty good. We're connected. There's no cord. There's no cord to my pointer, but we are all connected. What I want you to take a look at in this slide is the volume of technology and how fast it's happened. 1992, the first devices. 2008, where the red arrow is. We had less than 1 million devices and the concept of the Internet of Things. Could you listen to your baby monitor when you're at work? Could you unlock your car remotely? Could you drive a car remotely? And look what's happened in 10 years. We have in 10 years we have over 35 billion pieces of equipment. Again, exponentially. Every 2 years it's going to double. Look what's coming. 2 years ago, Pokemon Go. Do you remember people walking around bumping into things, looking for little phantoms, whatevers? But now the Internet of Things is changed to where it's not just a child's game. 2 years, remember, doubling of technology every 2 years. You can turn the lights on in your car. You can turn the lights on in your home. You can do your grocery shopping. You can check anything from your one mobile device. And that's just one application. Technology 20-some years ago, everything had a wire. Everything was connected. Now, there is no central hub. There is a wireless world that connects us all, whether we like it or we don't. And in real-world application, here's how it works. This is from Amazon. Amazon has a health IT portal. On the right side, we have the family and we have the caregiver. Information goes up to the cloud, goes on the left side. You can see in the center, there is a gateway. The gateway is the modem and the guts that will take all this information from a person, their lifeline pendant, their voice control, their smartphone. Is there water leaking in their apartment? What's the temperature? Turn on and off the lights. Get their heart rate. All this seamlessly goes into the cloud, back to the family, back to the caregiver. So when the family says, hey, how's mom doing today? The caregiver says, great. She woke up at such and such time. Her heart rate went up a little bit when she had too much caffeine for breakfast. But the information's right there, whether you're thousands of miles apart or right across the street. The concern for us is in the security of all these devices. So 10 years ago, the biggest threats were somebody stealing your information. 20 years ago, the biggest security threat was a dumpster diver getting your name off of a label on a magazine. Nobody does that anymore. But now we live in a world of sophisticated, targeted attacks, and this is what we're talking about protecting. So, do you have any of these at home? A modem, a smart meter, location device. If you look at your mobile phone, you might have a little arrow on the upper right side. That means your location tracking is on. Now, sometimes that's a point of security. If you're jogging by yourself, you're outside running, and you slip and fall and twist an ankle, eventually someone can find you on your phone. The bad news is someone can find you on your phone. If I were to snap pictures right now, people could know I'm in Stowe, Vermont, and not at home. That's like putting a big sign on your front lawn saying, come steal everything I own, I'm not there. Health apps on your device, dash buttons. Amazon makes it easy to reorder, but it's all connected. Alexa, Google Home, Fortnite. Anybody here play Fortnite or have someone that does? Nestor? So if you have a Fortnite app on a Galaxy device, that's not a legitimate Fortnite app. It is spyware, malware, at least as of August 7th. That was the last day that I put this together, and I have friends whose kids play Fortnite. Baby monitors, wireless printers, wireless modems, booster modems. Even if you are not thinking that you're connecting to the internet, you are. And your data at rest and data in motion are both at risk. So data at rest means my phone is sitting here, it's telling me what time, how quickly I'm talking or not on my timer, but I'm not connecting to the internet. I'm not using it. It's not in motion. I'm not downloading anything. I'm not actively reading anything. I'm not playing words with friends. It's at rest. Data compromise. If you find that something is wrong in your office, in your home, you can correct it now. If you don't check, and we're going to talk about this, because once I tell you what the bad guys are, I tell you how to remedy that. It takes generally 83 days on average to find out that you've been breached in your home, in your office. So, remember when I talked about the dumpster divers? Right now, it is 3 cents, the value of your record, if somebody peels a label off of a magazine. It's personally identifiable information. We live in the world of personal health care information, but anything that identifies you, puts your name with your address, is personally identifiable. 3 cents. Nobody's dumpster diving anymore. Credit report, credit record, 31 cents. Social Security number, 53, and access credentials, which is your login and your password, it's almost $1. But healthcare records, $250. So let's see, what's more important to a theft, to a thief? It's your healthcare record. Payment card details, your charge card information, it's only $5.40, and a banking record just a little over $4. So what is most important is the healthcare record of your patient, which goes to your reputation. And if you are texting to, let's just say, a pharmacy, or texting to a patient, yes, I can order that for you, your mobile devices then become part of that PII world that we want to protect. So I'm going to let you read this on your own. The presentation's all online now. But the most important thing here from this report is in 2017, there are weaknesses reported in Netgear routers and Brother printers. The weaknesses can allow attackers to compromise the devices or network and take malicious actions against them. If you have Wi-Fi in your home or in your office, what type of router do you have? Everybody's got a printer. What type of printer do you have? If your printer is physically connected, is it still broadcasting? Do you still have Wi-Fi? Now, why is this important? Because of ransomware. This is one example. A weak password allowed an attacker to gain control over a computer system. The same account login and password was on every station in the environment. Think about your office. Do you have one single sign-in, or does everybody have something unique? What about at home? Does everybody have a unique password on their mobile devices? Or do you use one? If you use one, you're quite vulnerable. So what happens? This is ransomware. If you've never heard of ransomware before, you get this pop-up at home or at work. And what happened? Your files are encrypted. No matter what you do, you have a certain amount of time. That timer runs down. If you don't pay them in Bitcoins, Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency. $100 worth of Bitcoins. Now, a Bitcoin could cost between $350 and $1,000. A Bitcoin is not physical value. A Bitcoin is not backed by gold or anything. It's backed by an algorithm, a mathematical algorithm. So you would have to go on the open market, Google how to get a Bitcoin, how to get $100 worth of Bitcoins, which may cost you many thousands of dollars, to get the encryption key to unlock your computer. Now, if all you have on there, if I just have vacation pictures and I'm backed up anyway, do I care? I'll get another device. I don't care. What about if it's your patient record? You're out of work. What if your x-rays are stored digitally? All of your patient information, all your financial information, your banking information. This is what we want to protect from happening. So typically, again, on the right side, the 83 days, if you're waiting for someone to tell you that you've been hacked. But typically, most operating systems, most event logs on your computer keep records for 7 days. If you don't know for 83 days, you'll never know where it came from or what to do about it. Makes it really hard. We're going to talk about how to check event logs in a minute. And by the way, the attackers, once they're in, have your environment for months and sometimes years. PNC, major bank in the U.S., has had case studies from small businesses, which is what we are. Email compromised. 77% of small businesses have an email compromise. 78% were targets of payment fraud, check fraud, and small amount in ACH debits. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because what do you do about it? Anybody here blog or have a website? If you do, most of them use WordPress. It's easy, it's free, it's simple to use. However, those two, Joomla and WordPress, have major flaws in them. And they have systems to check their site, but those can also allow hackers to get in. So if you use WordPress, make sure it's not on the same server as your patient records. If you use WordPress on a tablet that you don't connect to your office, the worst that can happen is you buy another tablet that's a few $100s. But don't ever put it on the same server as your dental software. So let's take some real life examples out of dentistry. Macy's had an attack. They found this out. It happened between April 26 and June 12 of this year. They sent out a notice on July 12th. So your information was out there. If you had an account with Macy's, they said change your password. And everything else would be pretty good. Hopefully no other information was leaked. But if your information happened to be in a marketing firm, this is Exactus. I don't know if I had Exactus records. You might not know if you had Exactus records. But when you sign up for a free newsletter from a company, or you sign up to get information from another company, this goes to data marketing firms. Exactus is one such firm. 340 million records were stolen, were breached. This came out July 6th, and it contains minute details for each individual, including phone numbers, home addresses, emails, and other highly personal characteristics. It ranges from it ranges from interests and habits to the number, age, and gender of the person's children. Why is this important? Because long after the data breach, criminals can still use your personal information to open accounts, file tax returns, buy property in your name, and more. Scary stuff. And one other. Every now and then you're working on your computer and you get a pop-up. We call them rats. They're Trojans. It's a Trojan horse. It says, your computer might be infected. Here, buy this. And you go, well, let's see. The simple one's 85, standard's 150, and the ultimate's 300. Maybe I'll get the ultimate. I don't know. It's just the pictures of my kids. Maybe I'll just get the one in the middle. You're buying a Trojan horse that infects your computer. If you want to add something for your computer, if you want to get a security system, you go out and you search for it and you choose which one. Don't ever click a pop-up link because you are infecting your computer and you're paying to do so. So let's get back to the dental world. Personal health information. Is it a phishing attack? Phishing is when you get something that you're not sure, but it looks like it came from a friend. Looks like it came from Rich Fisher. I'm going to open this up. Oops, it wasn't. So, 93% of all phishing emails are now used to spread ransomware. Again, the big red pop-up that wants your cryptocurrency. This is last February. Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center was forced to pay a ransom demand of $17,000 to regain its files, in addition to the cost of having its computer system taken out of action for a week. What would happen to your office if you lost your computer system for a week? And here's another one. This is health equity. I love this one because it dealt with just one email account being compromised. Now, I live in the Metro Detroit area, so I saw this on the news, and then, of course, I had to go find the backstory to it. It was provided, the information was provided on Click on Detroit. It's our NBC station. The breach was identified April 13th, had occurred 2 days previously. So the attacker only had 48 hours. If somebody gets into your system, they're not going to go out for coffee. They're going to access whatever they can and get it as quickly as they can. The two Michigan companies that were affected have been offered 5 years of credit monitoring for all of their individuals. Now, the breach portal says there were 16,000 patients affected. If you get LifeLock, it's $99 a year. Now, let's just assume they got a discount. But at $100 a year, times 16 people, times 16,000 people, times 5 years, was a very expensive breach. And this was all from one email account that opened up a link that they shouldn't have. So phishing now, and now phishing is new, because now we have PDF phishing. You get an email, it looks like it came from Dr. Fisher, and we're going to show you how to identify where information came from. And it looks as if you can't quite read it. It gets blurry, and it says you're going to be redirected to a secure site. Click here, you'll get the PDF of the whole, read out the whole information they're trying to send. Please don't be curious to see what that is, because I know offices that have said, the reason we have this class is because offices have told me. So I clicked on this link, and then you get the ransomware, or you get a host of other problems. By the way, remember when I said $252? That information was from 2017, a year ago. Starting this July, healthcare industry breach are worth $408 a record. And the new HIPAA rules for you can Google this, or it's in my handout. There are new rules for disposing electronic devices. If you have a fax machine, if you have a copy machine, as well as your server, pull the memory from it. If you don't have the books that tell you how to pull out the memory, all modern devices in the last 20 years have a memory. That's why if there's a power outage and your fax machine is turned off, as soon as you turn it back on, it starts spitting out whatever came in the meantime, because it saves a copy of it. Every single device that you have has a memory card, just like a camera has a memory card. So if you have a Ryko, an HP, whatever, and you don't have the instruction manual anymore, do a search, check in your model, and how to remove the memory card. So before you dispose of it, you always dispose of the memory card. And you don't take out the memory card and toss it in the trash. You take it down to your driveway or something nice and hard, and you smash the little sucker with a hammer. And I'm not kidding. That is the best way to destroy the data. If you have a software vendor, if you have Patterson, if you have Henry Schein, they will take back your hard drives and they will certify that it has been destroyed, or you can hire a security system, Google search them, and make sure that that's always destroyed. If you keep it in your office, make sure you keep it under a locked cabinet, lock and key. So where do you start? I've just given you the doom and gloom, so of course the other half of the presentation is what do you do now? First, you need a firewall. Now, a lot of the terminology that comes up here is IT world, so in case your vendor says, well, you need a WAF. Do you have a WAF? I don't know. A firewall is exactly what it sounds like, a barrier between you and your data and something else. So you're the client. You're the person, oops, let's go back this way. You're the one on the left. There's your office manager. Here is your web server, or if you're at home, there you are sitting on the couch, and there's your modem in another area of the house. And all of your services are connected. Without a server, see the little attacker in blue? He gets into your site, and he can access all your data. And he can put in some malicious directions, so anybody who goes to your site, goes into your website, sends you an email, is now has access to all your information. What a firewall does is exactly as it sounds. It is a physical presence between your web server and anything else, so you need to have at least one password to get through. Pull out your mobile devices, please. Bet you never thought I would say that. If you go to settings on your phone, I use an iPhone, works the same with an Android. In your settings, you will have Wi-Fi. Now, down here we don't have connections. Oh, yes, I do, conference room. So if you look at conference room, you're going to see the little logo for Wi-Fi. It's the little path like a wedge shape. And then you're going to see something else, another one that has a lock next to it. If you have a lock next to it, that means that there is a password required. That's what a firewall does. It puts up a password. So nobody can just arbitrarily get into it. The one that says conference, and I've also got another one, Sling Studio, which is probably somebody's phone. No? Okay, that's all right, so I'm not going to do that. But that is I just touched it, and it says unsecured network. What that means is that anyone could get into it and could download a malicious code that encrypts your data, steals your data, is able to use your data. So let's talk about NIST. NIST is a National Institute. I'm missing part of my thing. It's okay. National Institute of Standards, U.S.-wide, that says the 10 most important things you need to do to make sure that you're safe and protected. Anti-malware, hardware, software. We're going to take these one at a time so you see what you can do at home to find leaks or find weaknesses so you can secure them. Okay, first, it's real simple. Use antivirus and anti-spyware software. By the way, if you go to the NIST site, you can get this whole download, and they give you points. And the most points you have, yay, you're safer. Personally, I say, let's everybody try and get down to the last one on each side. If you have the handout, if you haven't downloaded it, this part of the presentation is included, and it makes it really easy for you to go home and see, yes, I have this, no, I don't have it, I have it, but I don't use it properly. So you need to have antivirus software and malware software on all of your devices, whether it's a mobile phone, a tablet, a computer, a printer. Every now and then you might get a pop-up that says your printer needs to download some new software, and you go, I don't want to do that, it's just a printer. Oh yes, you do want to do that. Okay? Firewall connection. You need to know if you have a firewall, if you use the firewall. If you have it but you're not sure of its quality, did you buy it on Best Buy or Amazon for $39, or you go, I don't want to spend $300 on a firewall, like it's just a little box, I don't know. Maybe you should. What's the value? $408 per record. How many charts do you have? How many patients do you have? I've got 5,400 and some. Do the math. So, software firewall. So the physical firewall has the ability to stop someone from getting into your computer. Now your software, if you have Dentrix, if you have EagleSoft, if you have any of the cloud programs, cloud platforms, any of them, should also have passwords, should also have a software firewall. And whoever helped set that up, your IT person, hopefully not your nephew's best friend's cousin, unless they're an IT person, because we all know, I mean, this is what we do. You go to Best Buy, you buy it, you bring it home, you plug it in. Your software needs to have a firewall as well as the computer itself. So commercial grade. Security patches. Sometimes you just keep getting those pop-ups. Microsoft keeps wanting to do something. Microsoft says it's time to update. So talk to your vendor. If it's on your home computer, you can look them up. It says, I need to do this. Take a picture of it. Close that site. Go online. What does this patch do? Is it important to you? I don't use Outlook. I don't care if there's an Outlook patch, but I do care about all my other patches. Microsoft updates normally are set to install automatically. Again, with your dental software, check with your software provider. Some programs do not play well with the new patches until they've been out maybe a month. So in our office, we use Guru. If we're trying to get a Guru up and it won't come up, it's like, okay, did we just do a Microsoft patch? Roll it back, bring up Guru, and wait. Otherwise, you do want to update them regularly. If you use an Apple product, a Mac product, Mac is different than PC, than Microsoft. So with a Mac, when their updates first came out, they put it out there to the world and said, you tell me if there's a problem. Now the good news was there weren't many updates. The bad news was if you updated and now your system's running slow, it was the update and you need to roll it back. So if you have a Mac product, you might want to just wait a week, get the bugs out, get the patch coming, and then update. Electronic backups. Everything that's critical should be updated. It should be updated daily, weekly, monthly, and if you can, take one backup off-site. Now you run into I stopped to pick up pizza and somebody broke into my car and stole my laptop. That's another problem. If you have an area in your office that you can have a secured file, and by secured I also mean a physical firewall product. There are companies that sell fire safes. They are good for 1 to 4 hours if the worst happens and there's a fire in your building. You can actually buy just the contents that go in the media drawer. It's a box, generally about 1.5 feet or a foot cubed, with a heavy clasp on it and a heavy lock. You can keep your media in that locked and stored in your office, and it will have a fire rating on, again, 1, 2, or 4 hours. 4 is the most that I know of. But by that time, the fire department's going to be there. Even in my little rural area, fire department's going to be there. But you need to keep your data secured physically as well as software. Control physical access. So notice the sensitive areas in your office. If you have a fax machine, if you have a copy machine, if you have a charge card machine, if you have a terminal, and it's sitting where anyone can walk in, the UPS guy, if you know the UPS guy, you go, hey, Fred, how you doing? Okay. Suddenly one day there's somebody else, and he walks in, and now he's kind of, what you guys doing back here? That's a sensitive area. Any place that has data, whether it's financial, whether it's patient, whether it's anything to do that has a person attached to data, is sensitive information. No one should be walking back there. Sometimes you have well-meaning patients that will walk up to the woman who's working at the business desk and go, Anna, let me just give you a little massage in the back. No, Anna's sitting in front of a terminal. I don't want people to see that. It's none of their business. So just, if you have a physical door, that's best. If you're in an open environment, make sure that your monitors are turned so no one can see it. And do challenge anyone who walks in. You might know who your people are. I know my technician for Shine. We use Shine and Patterson, but we're on Dentrix, so I know the Shine people. But you better believe somebody comes in who's not one of my regular guys. Okay, show me ID. And they go, well, you know me. No, actually, I don't remember you. It's okay. It's your environment. It's your office. Ask for ID. Wireless access points. If you don't know if you have wireless, well, look at your phone. Yep. I do. I got wireless. Okay. Make sure that you have changed all of your default setting. If you have CEREC, if you have 3D printers, if you have wireless printers, most passwords, 0000, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Change the password. Just change it to something that makes sense to you. And I've talked to offices that say, we prohibit wireless technology in our office. Okay, how do you do that? So if you say you prohibit it in anything in your office, if you have an HP printer that is physically connected, make sure wireless is turned off and disabled. And you just go through the settings, and where it says wireless, disable. Really simple. And if you've lost your instruction manual or your LCD panel doesn't show up very well, just Google it, put in your model, and you can see how to do it. Really, really easy in the settings. There's a saying, what if I train my employees and they leave? And I say, what if you don't train them and they stay? So, it is extremely important, if you don't know how to train people on basic security principles, to bring someone in. Your bank is probably the best place to start. If you belong to a chamber of commerce, just say, do you have anyone that trains on security for a small office? I'm a dental office. I just kind of need some help here. Banks do that for free. Chamber of Commerce usually charges something like $25 for an hour. And they come in and they will help you, and they'll do it ongoing. Whatever print information you get from them, hang on to it. The next person that comes to work in your office, same thing. They get the information. We also, in our office, part of our employee handbook says they sign a statement that they understand our organization's security policies. This is critical. Who gets sued? The one with the deep pockets. But who may have maliciously downloaded something from their Yahoo Mail into your computers, which, by the way, we recommend that your employees bring their own device and nothing personal goes in your office. It's on their own device, and that's just fine. And then unique user accounts. You should not have Dr. Fisher at Doctor as your administrative login and Fisher as your password for everybody. This is 2018, and we know that it's very easy if somebody gets into one account to get into all the accounts. So have something unique for everyone. I'll tell you, in my office, we have 18 employees. There is a password to get into the station. There's administrative privileges that are particular to the position that they're doing. And then everybody has a separate login, and everybody has a separate password. Is that a little bit of a pain in the neck because we do change them quarterly? Certainly. But at $408 a record times 5,400 records, it's worth it. So we also limit access. An employee who works clinically should not have access to someone's insurance, social security number, policy number, and information that should not be shared. It should be on a need-to-know, need-to-use basis only. So their login will give them administrative controls, or give you the ability to set administrative controls. And then also, all of our clinical computers are not able to accept any Wi-Fi information. So they can't get the information. It's got to come from the business area, where our controls are much, much more stringent. Okay. So identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. Don't connect a personal USB device to a computer. You love your staff members. You've got a great team. One of them says, hey, so on my thumb drive, I've got pictures of my kids. I just want to print them up. I want to send them to grandma. I'm sorry, I can't let you do that. Not on my computer. But I just need to get in there for a minute. You don't know what else is on that thumb drive. Where has it been? And always think security. Be careful downloading software. Again, you get a pop-up, you're not going to do that. Don't give out personal business information that you don't need to. When you're filling out any information, even when you go to the booths here, you know, you could win or whatever. You want to get the information, give them your business email. You don't want the information, you don't have to give your business email. Use strong passwords so that you conduct your business more securely. So just a little refresher here. You want to install a firewall. You want to know that you're downloading something that is something that you want. By the way, yes, it is perfectly fine, and people used to laugh at me. You can cover the camera on your computer or on your laptop so no one can see you. Because yes, if someone gets in maliciously, they actually can see your environment. That's not a joke, that's seriously. And regularly back up. Oh, by the way, if your machine is compromised, in my office I think we have 15 or 16 computers. If one is compromised, that can be wiped and all the others are still fine. So make sure that you've backed up your information so you have it. Mobile devices, passcodes, and fingerprint. Most all modern devices now, if you go to log in, well, of course, because I use my thumb, if you go to log in, you're not going to be able to unless you enter a passcode or a biometric, which is a thumbprint or fingerprint. Turn off geolocation if you don't need it. One, your battery will last a whole lot longer. Email, unsubscribe. Now, laws changed in, bless you, April or May. The laws changed effective the 1st of July. Every list that you subscribe to will now, on the address bar, have a little link to unsubscribe. So if you don't want to, if you keep getting junk mail from Acme Corporation, you don't want Acme Corporation, it's real simple. Unsubscribe. You no longer have to email them, tell them your email address, tell them you don't want it. It's simple. Unsubscribe. And guess what? You can always, if you think, oh, what did Acme have? I really wanted to buy these pens. You can Google it. You can find out Acme's information pretty easily, I bet. Financial accounts. Smartest thing you can do is have multiple email accounts. I have one that I answer any of you. If you send me a question, sregiani@comcast.net. It's on everything that I do. However, my financial data, my continuing ed data, and my coupons are all in 3 different accounts. And yes, I have a Yahoo coupon account, and when I've got hundreds and I can't delete them anymore, I delete the account and make a new one. Just a new extension to my name on it. Don't cross-populate. By the way, don't worry about spam anymore either. We're talking about emails. Everybody used to worry about spam, and we would hit by spam, spam, spam. Actually, the use of spam has gone down to almost nothing because now they can fish for you instead. They can target you. And it's very simple to buy a list of dental websites and dental emails and target you much more effectively than just spamming you. So, passwords. It's very hard to remember a set of random letters, random numbers, and a unique character or 2 or 3. So now we use passphrases. The house I grew up in. The house I grew up in with the white shutters. The house I grew up in down the street. My best friend's house next door. And any I, you can use an exclamation point. Word house can be all uppercase. Remember, you need that combination. But if you are on social media saying, oh, I have 2 cats. I sometimes will talk about little shadow cat. I will never use shadow or shadow cat as my password because anybody who knows me knows I have 2 cats and knows little shadow is my cat. So don't use something that you've already used as a familiar word. Use something that you can remember instead. Change your passwords often. Oh, 2-factor authentication. If I go into my Gmail accounts, which are the ones that are my sacred accounts, I will get a pop-up, or not a pop-up, I will get a text message saying that I need an authentication code before I can continue. So that's 2-factor authentication, not just a password, but a separate code. Anything that's very, very critical to you should have that. Change the passwords often. In my calendar, I put Post-it notes. Beginning of every year, I take 4 Post-it notes and pass, which is code for password. I open the calendar, slap one there, go down a couple pages, slap one there, go down a couple. Is it inconvenient? Sure. Does it take about a half a day? Certainly. Oh, and by the way, then you have to write them down. So they say don't store your passwords in one single place. The reality is there are so many passwords now and so many unique passwords. You don't want to use the same password in every site because, again, if you're hacked, you can get into everything. Store them with one person. You can use a password vault on a computer, but remember, if your computer is hacked, so is the vault. I say share them with one responsible person. This is usually a family member, not the last employee that you hired. So if you can trust your spouse, give them to your spouse. If your spouse is the type who is not really going to remember where they put that little password book, give it to one of your kids who's responsible. You might give it to a sibling, but one person should have that account. Case in point, if you ever lost a dear friend, cancer, car accident, and their Facebook page keeps popping up, it's because nobody knows the password and they can't shut it down. So I have 3 friends that I get, so-and-so's birthday. No, it's not. Not on this planet. Make sure someone knows how to access that information. Oh, and by the way, the man who invented the password says, I don't think anybody can possibly remember all the passwords. That leaves 2 choices. Either you maintain a crib sheet, a mild no-no, or use some sort of program as a manager. Either one is a nuisance. And yes, passwords have been around since the 1960s. So, how long does it take to break a password? Do you remember when people were trying to break into Apple and Apple wouldn't give out the logarithm to get to the passwords? Well, funny thing about that. 9-character passwords take 5 days to break now, 10 characters, 4 months, 11 characters, 10 years, and make it 12, and you're looking at 200 years worth of security. Not bad. Use a passphrase. By the way, that is not my passphrase, my house down the street, or the house I grew up in. But those are just some really good, easy ones. And something that you'll remember instead of random letters. If you use an Apple or a Mac product, Safari will frequently suggest 25-letter number, unique character with dashes in between. You'll never remember that. But you will remember the house I grew up in. Okay, social networks. Sign up with the least amount of information. You do not have to be truthful to Facebook. If you looked up Facebook, there is some errant information that I did by mistake because I didn't have my glasses on at the time when I first signed up for it. And that's okay, I left it there. Adjust your privacy settings. Everybody now, if you notice, has had to reissue some privacy information, all the companies. It's because the rules have changed. Internet rules have changed. So make sure you don't accept invitations from people you don't know. Use restraint when posting photos. Now, you're all of the age where you're not taking a photo every 16 seconds, but there is a generation that will take 16 photos in a second. Once it's posted, it's there pretty much forever. And if you don't want people to know where you are when you're taking a photo, if you're going to post it, just disable geolocation. And that's in your settings. And you can see me afterwards. Don't give away your important information. So, if you're shopping online, always make sure the site is HTTPS for security. If you have a website that has not been updated, you don't have the S, you'll find when you go to some websites, this is not secure. My own office website right now is just about done updating. We've had about a 3-month process doing that. So if you go to Regiani Dental, it's going to pop up and say, warning, this is not updated secure. I'm not taking payment information. I don't care. If I go to your website and I just want to see where you're located, I don't care. I'm not giving you personal information, but you do need to update that. You can check your merchant's privacy policy. Whenever you go to a website and accept this and you scroll all the way down, you accept it, you have basically signed your name to something that says they can do whatever. Remember that Exactus example. Marketing, $340 million. So before you click yes, make sure you know what you're clicking. And by the way, if you're buying something online, use a credit card, not a debit card. Debit cards are not protected, but under the Fair Credit Billing Act, you can dispute bad charges on a credit card. And hold on to your confirmations just like you would holding on to physical receipt if you went to the store and bought something. Opt-in versus opt-out. You want to get somebody's newsletter, you're opting in. If you don't want to get it anymore, you can unsubscribe. Companies have to tell you, though, if you are automatically opted in, if you buy something from your site, from their site, and if you want to not get it anymore, you have to physically opt out. So again, use that little unsubscribe now that comes right next to their business name or their email address. Search your devices. So these are just some of the companies. But one thing that I want you to take home from this, don't have two antiviruses running at the same time. They will conflict with each other. I don't, personally, I'm a Mac girl, so at home I don't use Norton. Norton comes free on a lot of devices and comes free with Windows. Personally, I like Malwarebytes. At our office, they use AVG. At one point, our tech support people put AVG on my computer, and my Malwarebytes thought it was a virus. And AVG thought Malwarebytes was a virus. I couldn't get into my computer because those two programs were fighting all the time. You only need one system. So in your office, talk to your tech support people, find out what works best with your software. At home, choose one. These are just some of them. It depends if you're Android or Mac. And then in the upper right-hand corner, anybody, if you use Gmail, this is so easy. You can do a checkup. So let me just show you what it looks like. This is my page. Sign-in security, personal and privacy, account preferences, security checkup, privacy checkup by activity. Some rainy day, soon, if you use Gmail, just go in and check it. Oh, and you probably have a Google page whether you know you do or you don't, whether you've claimed it or not, because Google knows that you're out there. They know everything about all of us. And your office will have a Google page. You should do this for them too. And by the way, if you claim it as yours, then you can go in and you can adjust the settings. So for me, that's my photo. That's one of my Gmail accounts. And I have two-factor authentication. And then I can set any of my preferences. My activity data. My device was paused. My location history was paused. I don't want people to know where my iPad is when I'm traveling. My search activity is on, my YouTube was on, and my YouTube watch history. And then you can personalize your ads, which means all of these, and there's probably 40 more, you can go in and you can tell them, I want to know certain information. I want information that only pertains to a female of a certain age. My antivirus and malware. You can look into each one of those and see what your settings are and see if you want to be a ghost, not be there, or if you're okay getting certain information. So, remember I said sometimes you think you're getting an email from someone and you're not. I think I'm getting an email from Dr. Fisher. How do I know it's Dr. Fisher? Well, now here's Chase Bank. However, this is in my spam folder. If you notice, putting the little cursor over the name Chase Bank brings up Fiona Brown at EIR.com or EIRcom.net. That's not Chase Bank. I don't want to open it. It's deleted. It's in my junk folder and I permanently delete them. Anything that you're not sure what they are. Now, this is a cute one. This is on my iPhone. This is Leslie Wills. I know Leslie. She's a personal friend. She's the organist at my church. And we play Words with Friends. Leslie would never send something. When you see one of these little mini goo dot GL, this is spam. This is malware. Or not spam. This is an encrypted, will do something bad to my computer. Now, what probably happened is somebody got into one of Leslie's friends' sites, hacking, and sent out an email from her to everyone else. That's how you get it. And sometimes people call you and go, yeah, you're sending me some malware or some spam or something or other, phishing. No, Leslie didn't do this. Somebody sent it out for her. So to see what this is on a mobile device, you just slide the name with your finger, slide the name sideways. You'll get more flag and trash. If you click on more, move the message and move it to whichever yours is called, junk or spam. And then you will eliminate them coming back. Okay, cyber insurance. I've been asked this question several times. Can you afford not to have cyber insurance? The cost of a breach, remember, $408 going up as we speak, times number of records. Talk to your insurance agent. I think it's a very wise thing to do. And if that's not enough to worry about, just one lasting factoid for you. You remember the guys with the aluminum foil hats? Not so far-fetched after all. As it turns out, your car's device, I drive a Bolt, so I don't even have a key. I just have a fob. It broadcasts. It broadcasts all the time. Somebody could literally drive by. I've played with it now to see how far it can go. I can go down the driveway to the front of my house. Fishers have been to our house. It's a long driveway, and I can still start my car. I can still make the lights flash. Great if you're walking through a parking lot, you don't remember where you parked your car. It's night. You can find your taillights flashing. But when you're home, somebody could get into your garage door. If you leave your house unlocked and just close your garage door, somebody can get that random signal now, because they say there are so many hundreds of different combinations that they use. Well, that's only semi-secure. So literally, you can wrap your fob in aluminum foil. I've done this. Cannot get into the car, cannot start it. Some people actually take a coffee can and stick their keys in it at night. That works too. You can buy a little Faraday bag if you want, but an empty tin can works just as well. That's my presentation, folks. Take care of what you have. Protect your assets. If you didn't download the handout, please do so you can check each of those 10 points at home. Stay safe, stay secure, and thank you for your time.